disguising. She's a little handful of trouble, a bundle of fun. Glad you could make it, so glad you could come. Little Miss, we're waiting for you. Ready, steady, how do you do?
Little Miss Neat lived in Two-Pin Cottage. It was called Two-Pin Cottage because she kept it as neat as two pins. Little Miss Neat was a very tidy person, probably the tidiest person in the world. She couldn't stand a mess.
Oh, I do like to see things neat and tidy, spick and span, if you know what I mean.
Every day, she spent all day polishing and dusting and cleaning and making sure that things were in their proper places.
I do like to see things in their proper places.
One morning, little Miss Neat awoke in a bedroom in Two-Pin Cottage and looked out of her bedroom window. It had been raining during the night, and there was a puddle in the middle of the garden path. She gasped in horror.
Oh, that is nasty.
And rushed outside with a duster.
Oh, dear me, we can't have that. Water all over my nice clean path.
She mopped up every drop of puddle, and then she rushed inside and washed the duster. And then she ironed the duster, and then she folded the duster, and then she placed the duster very neatly back in its drawer. Everything in Two-Pin Cottage had its proper place.
Yeah? Oh, I do like to see things in their proper places.
Now, this story is about the time little Miss Neat went on holiday. She always went away for 1 week every summer, and this year was no different. But do you know, she spent 2 weeks packing, and then she spent the whole day polishing a suitcase.
Neat and tidy, clean and shiny, that's how things should be.
At last, she was ready to leave Two-Pin Cottage, all spick and span and neat and tidy.
Oh, I do hope it doesn't get too dusty while I'm away.
She said as she closed the door behind her. But something worse than getting dusty was going to happen to Two-Pin Cottage. Last week, Mr. Muddle had written to Miss Neat to tell her he was coming to tea. But being Mr. Muddle, he got into a muddle posting the letter. Actually, what happened was that when Mr. Muddle went to post the letter, he had the letter in one hand and a half-eaten cheese sandwich in the other. And you can guess what happened, can't you? That's right, he posted the sandwich. A posted cheese sandwich.
It'll be nice seeing Miss, Neat again.
He chuckled to himself as he walked home.
This, sandwich is a bit chewy.
It was the day after Miss Neat left that Mr. Muddle arrived and knocked on the door. No reply.
Goodbye,
he shouted. It should have been,
hello.
but he isn't called Mr. Muddle for nothing.
Nobody home?
He called. He pushed open the door.
Oh, dear,
he thought as he looked around.
Nobody home. Never mind, I'll make myself a cup of tea and wait for Miss Neat.
So he went into the kitchen of Two-Pin Cottage and made himself a cup of tea and waited. And waited. And waited some more.
I think I'll have another cup of tea. Now, where did I put the teapot? Where did I put the tea? Where did I put the milk, the sugar, and the spoon?
By the time he got to drink the tea, it was getting dark and time to go home. 1 week later, a taxi arrived outside Two-Pin Cottage. "Here we are, miss. Home sweet home," said the taxi driver.
Oh, that was a lovely holiday, but I'm gasping for a nice cup of tea. Goodbye, and thank you very much.
She walked up a garden path.
Not too many weeds, thank goodness.
Miss Neat went in through the front door and looked around.
Not too dusty. I think I'll make that nice cup of tea I promised myself before I unpack and tidy up a bit.
But making a cup of tea after a Mr. Muddle visit isn't quite as easy as it sounds. Little Miss Neat eventually found the teapot, not in its proper place.
In the refrigerator.
And she eventually found the milk, not in its proper place.
In the teapot.
And the tea.
The sugar bowl.
And the sugar.
The milk jug.
And a cup.
And the oven.
And a saucer.
And the bread bin.
But could she find the teaspoon?
I can't find a teaspoon.
She could not. The telephone rang. Little Miss Neat picked it up.
Hello, Miss Neat here.
At the other end of the line, Mr. Muddle suddenly realised he was holding the telephone the wrong way round, and he turned it the right way round.
Goodbye,
He said.
Who's that speaking?
it's you.
Replied Mr. Muddle. Miss Neat thought for a moment.
Oh, it's Mr. Muddle speaking, isn't it?
Yes.
Replied Mr. Muddle, getting it right for once.
And you paid me a visit while I was on holiday, didn't you?
Yes.
Replied Mr. Muddle, getting it right for twice.
Can I come and see you now that you're back from holiday?
I suppose so. Goodbye.
Hello. Hello.
Said Mr. Muddle, and put the phone down. Little Miss Neat sighed a heavy sigh and sat down in the armchair next to the telephone.
Ouch.
And she found the teaspoons and the knives and the forks. And I don't think Little Miss Neat will be taking a holiday next year. Do you?
She's plump.
He's fat. They're late. I'm not here.
She's trouble.
Sunshine.
We're helpful, tiny.
Neat.
I'm silly.
Happy. She's Little Miss Sunshine.
I'm fuzzy. I'm greedy.
I forgot who I am.
I'm too
It's magic.
I'm me.
Buffet.
Daydream.
Scatterbrain.
Get the basket.
Splendid impossible team, all friends together, the Little Miss and Mr. Men, all friends together, round and round we go, back to back and side by side and on with the show.
Goodbye, goodbye, it won't be long till we meet again. And so we say so long, goodbye till we meet again.
Sometimes in sunshine, sometimes in style, sometimes with no time or just with a smile. Up to her eyes in surprises and tricks, no disguising. She's a little handful of trouble, a bundle of fun. Glad you could make it, so glad you could come. Little Miss, we're waiting for you. Ready, steady, how do you do?
Little Miss Plump certainly was
What's that?
plump. She was as plump as a cushion. She lived in Cherry Cake Cottage. One lovely summer morning, she arrived home from an early morning walk. Feeling rather hungry, she went into her kitchen and cooked herself some breakfast. Some breakfast. Sausages. Now, if you had sausages for breakfast, or if I had sausages for breakfast, how many sausages would we have? 1? Perhaps 2? Maybe 3. Guess how many sausages Miss Plump had for breakfast? 66. 66 succulent, sizzling sausages, which is difficult to say.
No, it isn't. 66. Oh, 66. Oh, 66 succulent, sizzling sausages.
And even more difficult to eat.
No, it isn't.
Miss Plump cut the last sausage on a plate in 2 and popped one half in her mouth.
That was nice. Now what shall I have?
Guess what?
Toast.
Now, if you had toast for breakfast, or if I had toast for breakfast, how many slices would we have? 1? 2? Maybe 3. Guess how many slices of toast Miss Plump had for breakfast? 23. 23 thick, tasty slices of tempting toast. And marmalade.
That was nice.
Just as Miss Plump was licking the last crumb of the 23rd slice of toast from her lips, there was a knock at the door of Cherry Cake Cottage. It was the postman.
Morning, Mr. Stamp.
Oh, good morning, Miss Plump. I got a letter for you.
Oh, good. Do you like a cup of tea while you're here? I'm going to have one.
Oh, well, thank you. I'd love one. One indeed. Just look at the size of Miss Plump's teapot.
Shan't be long. Kettle's just boiled. Sugar, Mr. Stamp.
Yes, just one lump, Miss Plump, thank you. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I love a good cup of tea.
So do I. I shall have 2 or 3 of them on. I'm going to have my breakfast.
Oh, it's turned out a lovely day, isn't it?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, it's a nice cup of tea,
I should
that.
sell myself.
Well, thank you for the tea. I must be on my way. No, don't get up. I'll see myself out.
Bye-bye, Mr. Stamp.
After Miss Plump had said goodbye to the postman, she poured herself another cup of tea. Another after the 11 other cups she'd had already. And then she opened the letter. It was from Mr. Greedy.
Dear Miss Plump, next Wednesday is my birthday. Please come to tea at 4 o'clock.
And it was signed Mr. Greedy.
Oh, lovely. I shall look forward to that.
Wednesday was a fine sunny day.
I think I wear my new hat. Oh, dear. Oh, that's better.
And after a little light lunch, I'll tell you what later, Miss Plump set off in her car to drive to Mr. Greedy's.
Oh, I must get a bigger car.
But before she set off, she put something on the back seat of her car. Something large. It was Mr. Greedy's birthday present.
Now what's wrong with you?
Plump, plump, little Miss Plump, how she loves her lovely food. Plump, plump, little Miss Plump, with an appetite for 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe more. She eats and eats and eats some more.
At 4 o'clock precisely, Miss Plump pulled up in front of Mr. Greedy's roly-poly sort of a house.
Hello, Mr. Greedy.
Oh, hello, Miss Plump.
Happy birthday, Mr. Greedy.
Oh, thank you. Do come in. The tea's all ready. Oh, it's so nice to see you again. Oh, and what is this?
It's your birthday present.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
And he started pulling off the wrapping paper.
Oh, it's the loveliest cake I've ever seen.
I only put 1 candle on it because I didn't know how old you were.
Oh, you shouldn't have, you know, but I'm glad that you did.
I baked it today. I have a confession to make.
Oh.
This isn't the only cake I baked today. The first one was so delicious, I ate it for breakfast.
Oh, yes, I quite understand.
And the second one looked so lovely, I couldn't help myself. I ate it for lunch.
And the third, I presume, Miss Plump, is for tea. Would you care to join me?
Oh, yes. That lovely cheese.
Would I interest you in a milkshake, Miss Plump?
Yeah, Mr. Greedy. Oh, that's lovely.
Chips.
You got ice cream all over your nose.
Oh, never mind, I'll lick it off.
Jam.
You've got rather a piled plate, Miss Plump.
Mr. Greedy. Just a tiny bit more, Mr.
Same
Greedy.
again, same again.
Yes, just a tiny weeny bit. Oh, you forced me.
She's plump.
He's fat, they're late, and naughty,
She's troubles.
we're helpful, tiny, neat,
I'm silly.
happy. She's little Miss Sunshine.
I'm fussy and greedy.
I'm
Truly.
It's magic.
I'm mean.
Mother.
Get the dream. Get the basket.
Splendid, impossible team. All friends together. The little Miss and Mr. Men. All friends together. Round and round we go. Back to back and side by side and on with the show.
Goodbye, goodbye.
Little Miss Scatterbrain was just a little bit forgetful. You can say that again. Little Miss Scatterbrain was just a little bit forgetful. One day, while out for a walk, she met Mr. Funny. Hello, Miss Scatterbrain!
Hello, Mr. Bump.
Miss Scatterbrain carried on with the walk and met Mr. Slow. Hello, Miss Scatterbrain.
Hello, Mr. Rush.
Then she met Mr. Tickle. Hello, Miss Scatterbrain.
Hello, Mr. Strong.
And Miss Scatterbrain went on and met Mr. Happy. Hello, Miss Scatterbrain. Where are you off to? Miss Scatterbrain thought and thought. I bet you've forgotten, haven't you?
Forgotten what?
There, I told you, he said.
Absolutely, totally, completely, and so utterly forgetful, absent-minded little man at a scatterbrain.
There's a house not far from here, inside a wood that's very near, which runs along a lane that's very small. Well, that's the house I cannot find, and that's the house I'm sure is mine. I simply can't remember what it's called.
Absolutely, totally, completely, and so utterly forgetful, absent-minded little man had a scatterbrain. Forgetful, absent-minded little man had a scatterbrain.
Miss Scatterbrain lived in the middle of a wood in Buttercup Cottage. Now, everybody knew it was called Buttercup Cottage, except the owner. She kept forgetting. One morning, the postman came along. Oh, good morning. Do you know where Buttercup Cottage is, miss?
Oh yes, I think it's, down the lane on the left. Oh, no, it's on the right, and it's the one where the little roses round the door. No, just a minute, you go straight along to the end of the road, and then there's a left turn, but you don't go that way, you go to the right, and it's on your left. Yes.
Thank you very much, miss.
I know. To help me remember the name of my cottage, I think I'll put up a sign.
Dear, oh dear. Just look what the sign says. She isn't called Little Miss Scatterbrain for nothing, is she? One winter's morning, Little Miss Scatterbrain got up and went downstairs to make a breakfast.
La, la, la,
She shook some cornflakes out of a packet, but being such a scatterbrain, she forgot to put the bowl underneath.
Oh, silly me. Now, where did I put the milk?
It took her 10 minutes to find it in the oven.
Oh, silly me.
After breakfast, Little Miss Scatterbrain set off to town shopping. First, she went into the bank. Good morning, Miss Scatterbrain. May I help you?
Good morning. Yes, I'd like some,
Yes? Some, money?
sausages.
Sausages. But this isn't a butcher's. This is a bank.
Oh, silly me. Of course it is. I was forgetting. I do sometimes, you know.
Really?
I'd like 2, please.
Pounds?
Pounds.
The bank manager passed 2 crisp pound notes over the counter. Little Miss Scatterbrain looked at them.
What are these?
2 pounds.
They don't look much like 2 pounds of sausages to me.
Eventually, the bank manager managed to explain, and off went Little Miss Scatterbrain to see the butcher. Really most extraordinary, Miss Scatterbrain. Every time she comes in, we have trouble. She never knows what she wants. She's come to sausages, Rice Krispies. Little Miss Scatterbrain walked down the high street. She went into the butcher's shop. Good morning, madam, said Percy Pork, the butcher.
Good afternoon, Mr. Beef.
Pork?
No, sausages.
But my name isn't Sausages.
No, of course not. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, what sort?
What do you suggest?
Beef?
I thought you said your name was Pork.
Percy Pork sighed a deep sigh. "Oh, just call me Percy." Eventually, after a little more confusion, little Miss Scatterbrain managed to buy herself 2 pounds of sausages, and Percy Pork wrapped them up for her. Looks like snow," he said conversationally, looking out of his shop window.
Really?
Said Miss Scatterbrain, looking at the brown paper parcel.
Looks like sausages to me. Snow. What a funny man.
"Goodbye, Miss Scatterbrain."
Goodbye, Mr. Lamb.
Miss Scatterbrain left the shop to catch a bus home. She stood behind Mr. Silly at the bus stop. Along came Mr. Nosy. He stood behind her in the queue and looked at the parcel she was holding. "Hello. Looks like sausages." Miss Scatterbrain looked up at the sky.
Oh, looks more like snow to me.
She's blunt.
He's fat, they're late and naughty. Tickle.
She's troubles.
Shy.
We're helpful, tiny.
Neat.
I'm silly.
Happy.
She's little Miss
I'm
Sunshine.
fuzzy. I'm greedy.
I'm truly.
It's magic.
I'm mean.
Bossy.
Dream.
Scatterbrain.
Get the bus.
Splendid impossible team. All friends together. The little Miss and Mr. Men. All friends together. Round and round we go. Back to back and side by side and on with the show.
Goodbye, goodbye. It won't be long till we meet again. And so we say so long, goodbye till we meet again.
Sometimes in sunshine, sometimes in style, sometimes with no time or just with a smile. Up to her eyes in surprises and tricks, no disguising. She's a little handful of trouble, a bundle of fun. Glad you could make it, so glad you could come. Little Miss, we're waiting for you. Ready, steady, how do you do?
Little Miss Shy just couldn't help it. Being shy, that is. She was terribly, desperately shy. She lived all alone in a little house quite a long way from where you live. In fact, quite a long way from where anybody lives. Thimble Cottage. Little Miss Shy dived under the table in terror. The postman outside knocked again, loudly. Little Miss Shy, under the table, put her hands over her ears and shut her eyes. "Anybody home? Anybody home?" "Well, I don't know. She must be out." The postman pushed the letter he was carrying through the letterbox and walked away. Little Miss Shy waited and waited and waited, long after the sound of his footsteps had died away. And then she waited some more. It was dark by the time little Miss Shy dared to come out. And there it was, on the doormat, the very first letter she'd ever had in the whole of her life. She opened it very cautiously.
Ooh, it's from Mr. Funny.
"Ha ha! You are invited," wrote Mr. Funny, to a party. Ha ha! On Saturday at 3 o'clock. And it's going to be fun, fun, and fun. Little Miss Shy was horrified.
Fun.
She looked at the letter again.
Can't go. Can't. There'll be people there. People.
In the whole wide world, there was absolutely nothing that frightened little Miss Shy as much as the thought of people. She worried about it all night long. But the following morning, she had made a decision.
I'll have to go. It wouldn't be polite to refuse.
But 5 minutes later, she changed her mind.
I'll have to refuse.
And 5 minutes later, she changed her mind back again.
I have to go.
But 5 minutes later, guess what happened? That's right.
Can't go.
She didn't sleep much that night at all. The following morning was Friday. Miss Shy awoke with a smile. She was going to the party.
Right. I'm going. Yes, I've definitely decided. I'm going.
That Friday, little Miss Shy changed her mind 144 times. That's how many 5 minutes there are in a day. She was going to the party. She wasn't going. She was. It was a very, very long day. And that Friday night was even worse than Thursday night. She didn't sleep a wink.
Can't sleep.
Not even half a wink. Saturday morning came and went. Saturday lunchtime came and went. Little Miss Shy just couldn't eat a thing. 1 o'clock in the afternoon came and went. Then 3 o'clock. The party time came and went. But poor little Miss didn't. Well, she couldn't.
I can't.
She couldn't. She just sat there. A little tear rolled down her cheek.
Oh, I should have gone.
4
I
o'clock
wish I'd
came.
gone.
There was a loud knock at the door. The door opened, and in walked Mr. Funny. I knew you wouldn't come. So I've come to take you to the party.
I couldn't. No.
Come on. You'll enjoy it, won't you? Come on, off we go. And he marched the blushing little lady off to his party. Everybody was there.
Come to a party, come to a dance. Come out and play with us, just take a chance. Little Miss Shy, you seem so afraid. Try it before it's too late.
Oh, have some cake.
Said Mr. Greeley.
Thank you, so kind.
Mr. Tickle offered her 2 glasses of lemonade in a roundabout sort of way. Mr. Mischief made her jump with a noisy party squeaker. And she dropped her lemonade all over Mr. Small.
Sorry. You're all wet.
Oh, no, don't mention it. Don't mention it. Mr. Dizzy gave her a lovely party hat, and little Miss Shy began to feel better. Everybody talked to her, and everybody was very nice. And gradually, the longer the party lasted, bit by bit, yes, little by little,
I didn't.
eventually, guess what happened? She stopped blushing, and she actually started enjoying herself. Told you so. You see, it's quite painless, really. You see, once you let yourself go, it's quite painless, really. See, once you get used to it, just see, let yourself go. Little Miss Shy nodded and giggled. She was having the time of her life, and only blushing a bit. And do you know who she met at the party? Mr. Quiet. I used to be shy like you, he said.
You never were. Would you like to come to the little cottage for tea tomorrow?
Me? Tea? Tomorrow, replied Mr. Quiet, blushing like a whole sack full of beetroots. And then he fainted.
She's blunt.
He's fun. They're late and naughty.
She's trouble.
We're helpful, tiny, neat.
I'm silly. Scrappy.
She's little Miss Sunshine.
I'm fuzzy. I'm greedy.
Punctually. It's magic.
I'm mean.
Boss,
Dream.
Scatterbrain.
Chatterbox.
Splendid, impossible team.